let's try to add a RAID device. Select RAID 1, select our 2 hard drives. All right, and there we go. We're in our Samba file share. Let's go ahead and map this as a network drive. We want this to be on our mirrored RAID 1 array. Okay, so let's throw this a curveball, okay? Let's fail this drive. So now we want to add that new disk. So we're going to add this guy. And then check it out. It says synchronizing RAID device. So now what I want to simulate is our operating system going down. And now we've got that mirror again. And give us a big refresh. And look at that, we have our images again. Hey guys, in this video, we are going to create a RAID array, a RAID 1 array, in which we have mirrored hard drives. That gives us redundancy. In the case that one of our hard drives fails, we still have a functioning RAID array. And I even will show you how to set up a SMB file share that I'll access from my Windows PC. And we can see that that network drive still works even with the failed hard drive. And then what I'll do is I will replace the hard drive, and we are going to be using an awesome storage graphic user interface called Cockpit to do all this. What we're going to do is then replace that hard drive and watch it repair in real time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Immich application for self-hosted photos, and I'm going to bind mount the assets, all of the images, to the RAID array that we created. That way we have redundancy in all of our super valuable photos that we're storing. So when that hard drive fails, we're going to replace it. We're going to see that our image is still working even after a hard drive failure. The other thing I'm going to show you is what happens if our operating system hard drive fails. So what I'm going to do is then create a new server, and I'm going to connect those same 2 hard drives to the new server. We're going to install Cockpit again. We're going to see that RAID array in Cockpit. It already has the metadata in those 2 hard drives that knows that it's a RAID array. So all we have to do in Cockpit is then just remount it. And then now we have our storage again in our new operating system. And for all the image watchers out there, I'm going to show you how to restore the database from a backed up database dump. So we're going to have Immich back up and running again on a new server from our existing RAID array. So hope you enjoy this video, guys. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is whip up a new server. So let me go ahead and just clone my base server here, and I'll call this RAID YouTube Demo and do a full clone. Okay, so now what we're going to do is give this bad boy some hard drives, because we are going to construct that RAID array that I was talking about. So let's go to settings, storage, controller, and then we're going to add a hard disk. So here I'm just going to go ahead and create a new hard disk, and we'll just stick with a VirtualBox disk image, and we're not going to pre-allocate. We want it to be dynamically allocated. 25 gigabytes is fine. YouTube RAID Demo 1, that's the name of the hard drive. And then we're just going to add this to our machine, and let's create another one. VDI, VirtualBox disk image, and 25 gigabytes is fine again. And let's choose that. So now we've got 2 hard drives added to the SATA ports of our virtual machine. Going to make sure we're on the bridged adapter network, and then let's boot this guy up. Okay, I'm inside of my server. Let's open up a terminal, and we're going to install Cockpit here. First, I'm going to update my apt repositories. So do sudo apt update, and then now we're going to install Cockpit, sudo apt install Cockpit and Cockpit storage. And I'll put the yes flag on there. Okay, and now we just need to enable it. So sudo systemctl enable now cockpit.socket. Okay, let's jump into a web browser. And I'm just gonna access this from the local host within the server. You can obviously access it from the IP address on your PC in the same network. So localhost 9090. And then we're just gonna log in with our Ubuntu credentials here. Okay, let's change this to administrative access. And then I'm gonna go hop into storage. Okay, we can see our main operating system drive and then the 2 hard drives that I plugged into the SATA ports. So let's try to add a RAID device here. So go create RAID device. Okay, let's call this mirror. Select RAID 1. Select our 2 hard drives. All right, and there we go. Okay, now let's look at that RAID device here. We're going to need to format it. This is the device name right here. And then I will give it the name mirror. We can format it with ext4. And then where do we want to mount it? Let's mount it at mount mirror. We can mount now. And then I'm just going to select no encryption and then go ahead and format the drive. Okay, it's going to synchronize the RAID device. Okay, cool. Let's just check it out in the terminal. So let's go cd mount, and then we can see that that mirror is there. Let's do a ls-l on the mirror. So let's go ahead and just give it, let's assign it to my own user here. So let's say sudo chown recursive to Thomas mirror. So I'm just assigning ownership to my own user and user group. Okay, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and create a Samba drive or a SMB drive. So to do that, we have to install a plugin for Cockpit, and we're gonna go to this 45 drives Cockpit file sharing here, and then I'm gonna follow the instructions for Ubuntu to install this plugin. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we need to install curl real quick. So let's do sudo apt install curl, spell that correctly. Okay, we have curl installed. Let's copy that again and paste that in here. Okay, so the file sharing plugin should be installed. Let's clear that. Come back here. Let's refresh the browser. And now we have file sharing down here. Okay, we have the file sharing plugin in here. So let's actually come back to our terminal, and we're gonna install Samba as our main file sharing service. So we're gonna do sudo apt install Samba. Now we're gonna enable it. So sudo systemctl enable smbd, and then let's start it. Sudo systemctl start smbd. Clear that up. Let's go ahead and just set a password for my own user. So let's do sudo smb password a Thomas and give myself a password. And let's come back to Cockpit, and we're gonna come down to share configuration, and then whatever the name we wanna give. So I'll call it mirror because that's what we call the drive. And then share description. This is our mass storage. And then the path is going to be the mount mirror. That's where we mounted the RAID array. Let's just stick with the default settings and hit apply. So successfully added share mirror. Okay, let's see if we can access it. Type in IP address. Okay, so I'm gonna go into File Explorer on my PC and go to 192.168.4.173. And then we called it mirror. Okay, so here we are. We're in our Samba file share. Let's go ahead and map this as a network drive. So just make it really easy to come in here. I'm gonna go to this PC, map network drive, and we'll stick with X. Folder is going to be the IP address and mirror. And I may want to go ahead and connect using different credentials. So it's gonna be the username and Samba password that I set up. Okay, let's check that out. So now we've got that network drive. So just to test it out, let's go ahead and just create a file in here. Hello from PC. Okay, jump back into the server, and Let's go to mount mirror list, and then look, hello from PC. So let's go and test this out with Immich and put some assets into our RAID array here. First thing I'm going to do is install Docker. And I'm just gonna follow the instructions to install Docker and Docker Compose. So let's just do that real quick. Okay, Docker is installed. Let's install Immich real quick. So immich.app. Get started, install, Docker Compose. Okay, let's cd into our home user directory. And then we are going to actually, let's create a Docker folder. So make directory Docker and then cd into Docker. Okay, let's follow these commands. Got the Immich app, let's get the Docker Compose. And let's get the .env file. Okay, so let's take a look at that env file. Do a nano env. And then the upload location, we want this to be on our mirrored RAID 1 array, right? That's where our bulk storage is going to be. So we definitely want our upload location to be there. So that's going to be the mount mirror. And then let's create a folder for Immich, and then we'll just do the library. Now the database location, we could put this on the RAID array as well, and that would give us some redundancy for the database, but I'm not really as concerned about that. I'm okay with just keeping it on the operating system hard drive where it's going to persist the fastest. And Immich is already going to be creating daily backups of the database into our library folder. So if we did lose our operating system drive, we could still just restore the database from one of those backups. So let's give this a try. Let's write that out. And then let's take it up. So sudo docker compose up D. Let's let that pull the Immich image. Okay, so the Immich containers have pulled and they are starting. Okay, we've got my file share here in Windows. I'm gonna pull up a browser and we're gonna see if we can access this from our PC. So this is the 192.168.2283. Okay, we've got our Immich up and running. I'll do Thomas at thomaswildtech.com. thomaswildtech.com. And the password is thomaswildtech. Skip. Okay, let's upload a couple assets, shall we? Okay, let's just throw in some photos from this IMDb database. I'm just gonna drop these in here, let those upload, and then we can refresh. And now we've got some photos of this dude from the IMDb database. So let's just check out the mirror here. We can go to Immich. I just wanna see, where this is actually uploading. So we got upload, and then we've got these folders here. So is this a file? Yep, so there it is. Okay, so we can see that we are storing our images on our mirrored RAID array. Let's try failing a drive and see what happens, okay? So I'm gonna go over to storage. We can see that the state of our RAID device is running. Let's just look at here. Okay, so let's throw this a curveball, okay? Let's fail this drive and let's see what happens inside of Cockpit. So let's do sudo mdadm fail, and then we're gonna reference our RAID device here, dev md mirror, and then we'll specify our dev sdc. Let's try that. And if we go to our RAID array, we see that it is in a degraded state. So we can see one disk is missing. This one says failed down here, so that is not good. However, does it still work? Let's do a couple more images. Okay, so let's just drag these into Immich here. Uploaded, cool. We've got some more images. I'll even create a file in here. Still works. Okay, so our RAID array is in a degraded state, but Let's see if we go to our mirror here, and we can see that we still have that text file that I created. The image uploads are still working, right? But now we're just kind of operating off of one drive. So what can we do? Let's remove the drive and let's insert a new drive, okay? So we're gonna just come over here and remove it, okay? We're still in a degraded state. We don't want that drive anymore. So now that it's removed from the RAID array, we're gonna replace it, okay? I will need to actually come in and power this guy off. And then let's give it a third drive now, or let's just replace that second drive. So let's go to settings, storage, and then I'm going to remove that drive. We take it out because it failed, right? It's no longer good. And then let's create a new drive, and we'll do the 25 gigabytes again. And we'll call this one YouTube RAID Demo 3. So hit finish and then hit choose. So now we've got a new drive in there. Let's hit start. Okay, let's open up Cockpit again. Just hit restore session, log back in. Okay, so let's jump into our RAID array. It's in a degraded state, right? So now we want to add that new disk. So we're going to add this guy. And then check it out. It says synchronizing RAID device mirror. So depending on how many files you have on your RAID array, this could probably take a while to get a full synchronization back. Okay, we have our RAID array synchronized again, our RAID 1, which is just a mirror. And we're back up and we're healthy again. So now what I want to simulate is our operating system going down, and we need to move our RAID array, our mirrored drives, into a new machine. Or we just need to replace the operating system hard drive and basically reattach the RAID array to the new operating system. So let's do that right now. First thing I want to do, because my Immich database is not bind mounted to the RAID array, I want to go ahead and just create a snapshot real quick. Okay, we're just going to manually create a backup here. So let's go to administration, backup, and we're basically going to run this command. So let's put this into the terminal. We're going to change the path. Okay, this Immich folder, I want this to be just owned by Thomas. So I'm going to do a sudo ch own r Thomas to Immich. Okay, and we can see that that is now owned by Thomas. So let's see if we can do a database dump directly to where Immich would normally put images. So that'd be mount mirror Immich library backups dump.sql.gz, and it needs to be sudo. Okay, and I can see that's being created in real time on the network drive. So this is gonna be my database backup. Again, Immich is gonna do this on a nightly basis. Okay, so let's shut down this machine. It is no longer working, right? We're gonna create a new one, and then we're gonna attach that RAID array to the new virtual machine. Okay, the second machine, we're gonna make sure is on the bridge adapter. And now we are going to attach those two hard drives to this machine. So that was the RAID Demo 1 and RAID Demo 3. So we're gonna choose that, 3, choose that, okay. And then let's start this up. Okay, so I do need to install Cockpit again. I might just fast forward through this. Localhost 9090. Take this up to administrative access. Go to storage. Okay, and then just give it a little bit of time, and then right off the bat, it will remount our RAID array for us. So check that out. We just attached the 2 drives and then we installed Cockpit, and now we've got that mirror again. And I think all we need to do is just mount it. So let's come in here and mount. So let's go to the same path we did before, mount mirror. And let's just check out the file system again. Let's go cd mount mirror. And then we have all those files that we had before. Let's just check the privileges on it real quick. LSL. They even have these privileges, so that's good. And now just for fun, let me just install Docker and Immich again, and then let's just totally restore that database. Okay, we need to nano that env again. And remember, upload location is mount mirror Immich library. Okay, let's take up the container, sudo docker compose up d. Okay, that is up and running. I'm gonna create a new terminal and let's just cd to that mount mirror Immich. Let's go cd library and then cd backups. So we do have that right there. Let's go into the restore. So administration, backup and restore. Okay, so let's try to restore this database. We are going to run docker compose down. And we need sudo clear. Okay, we could pull the latest version of Immich. I don't need to do that because I just installed Immich. Let's create the containers. So sudo docker compose create. And then we're going to start the database container only with sudo. Let's copy this guy, copy and then paste. And then we're just going to change that to the path. So that is the mount mirror Immich library backups dump.sql.gz. So let's change that to Postgres, and that needs to be a .gz. All right, permission denied, sudo again. Okay, let's just try adding our user to the Docker group. So I'm gonna do sudo user mod a group Docker. Oh, it's so slow. Thomas. Let's try changing the ownership of the Docker sock. Thomas var run docker.sock. Oh my god. Okay, let's copy this again. Okay, let's restore that. Okay, and now we can start the remainder of the containers. So let's do that. And give us a big refresh. And look at that, we have our images again. So I could of course set up the file share, the SMB drive again, but just kind of doing the same process. So I don't think I really need to do that. Okay guys, we did it. We set up a RAID array with a mirrored drive between 2 hard drives. And now we have redundancy with our hard drive storage. So if one of our drives fails, which we simulated, then we can remove that drive, replace it with a new drive, and then add it to the RAID array. And we did all of this using Cockpit, and we can kind of see the restoration of that drive, the repairing of that RAID array in real time. So pretty awesome. And then of course we restored our Immich app. We had our assets stored in the RAID array, but we did not mount our database there. So we had to restore our database from backup, and I showed you how to do that. Now we have a working Immich app again. So if you learned something from this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to see more content like this. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if there's anything else you'd like to see, give me some ideas. Hit me up in the comments and I'll respond. So thanks. I'll see you in the next one.